6 o'clock news starts right now.
An afternoon drop-off that seemed uncaring and dangerous. That's what a witness is calling the actions of a Via driver who dropped off two elderly women at a business that was closed for the day.
Those women requested a Via Trans ride to celebrate a birthday. In the end, they were forced to wait in the hot sun for over an hour after the Via driver refused to allow them back inside the van. But a witness stepped in to help.
Alicia Barrera found that witness and shares what he says happened and what comes next for that Via driver involved.
The passenger exited from here, and they had them in their wheelchair sitting there in the sun.
Stan Jernigan is the manager at Mr. and Mrs. G's restaurant on the city's east side. It was around 11 a.m. Tuesday when he saw the driver of a Via Trans vehicle begin to unload the women's wheelchairs.
I explained to him that the restaurant is closed. He said, no, he got to leave. He got other deliveries to make. I said, can you put him on the bus? It's hot out here. He said, no, they can go somewhere and sit in the shade.
However, there was no shade, so Jernigan offered yet another option.
I said, can you call your dispatch and pick them up? He said, no, they can do it.
Passengers with mental or physical disabilities must apply and be approved for Via Trans, a door-to-door service. However, these doors were closed.
He just took off.
The protocol calls for the actual passenger to be dropped off. And if they're being dropped off somewhere where the building is closed, then they need to call the supervisor or the dispatcher to make alternate arrangements immediately.
Jernigan is now being praised for doing the right thing.
I brought him inside, gave him bottled water, and I turned the TV on for him. And we made multiple phone calls with their family members as well as Via Trans.
Via Trans sent another vehicle about an hour after the incident.
We do want to thank the employee from the restaurant for doing what he did. That particular driver is on disciplinary leave, and we are currently conducting an investigation.
Via says they've reached out to the families involved and have offered these two women a free ride. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. G is offering a free meal. Reporting on the city's east side, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
While the restaurant manager, Jernigan, hopes the driver is able to keep his job, he says there needs to be more compassion and kindness towards others, especially towards the elderly.
The memorial outside of Robb Elementary in Uvalde is usually a quiet and somber place, but not today. Today, there was a crowd there for a reason. Camelia Juarez shares how people gathered to sing and to pray for what they need most right now, healing.
Holy Spirit, you are welcome.
In a place that has been quiet since May, now filled with the sounds of worship.
Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for.
Dozens of people, hands raised, eyes closed, focusing on the intention of their prayer. This pastor is also a Uvalde CISD teacher.
So Lord, we pray that you bring comfort and peace to every heart, that you bring a calmness, and not a false calmness, Lord, but true peace that comes from you.
Where was God in all this? He was embracing his children as he took them to heaven.
One pastor is the brother of Uvalde Commissioner Ronald Garza. He traveled from Harlingen with 10 other people with one goal in mind.
The only thing on our agenda is to pray.
Alongside him, hand in hand, were other Uvalde teachers and families of the victims.
The Bible says in Psalm 147 that God heals a broken heart. Obviously, there's a lot of broken hearts here.
Pastor Lee DeLeon is also a Uvalde native who traveled from California with a message of hope.
Hopefully, a word we share, a prayer we utter, will touch that grandma, will touch that teacher. The teacher was weeping, all the whole time that she was here, and just thinking of her future and thinking of those little ones.
Now, I've been told this will not be the last prayer service. Another is set for Saturday, but a time and place has not yet been set. In Uvalde, Camelia Juarez, KSAT 12 News.
It wouldn't legalize abortion in the city of San Antonio, but the city council considering a resolution that supporters hope will provide some protection to women seeking that procedure. The measure, pushed by Westside Councilwoman Terry Castillo, seeks to limit how much the city does to pursue any criminal cases for abortion. Garrett Berger on a resolution that seems likely to be on the city's books.
For abortion rights supporters, the world turned upside down last month. The overturning of Roe v. Wade opened the door for the criminalization of abortion around the country.
The recent action of what I view as an extremist element of the Supreme Court has placed an urgency on this issue of access to health care.
A proposed resolution would recommend that apart from what state or federal law clearly requires, city funds not be used to catalog reports or collect information on instances of abortions to pursue criminal investigations, or to provide such information to other government agencies.
When we look at collecting data and criminalization, that means enforcement. So essentially it is decriminalizing.
It's a similar idea to the GRACE Act that Austin City Council passed last week. But whereas Austin also included another policy that specifically put investigations into abortion as the lowest enforcement priority, San Antonio's proposed resolution does not have that language.
The city council cannot direct the SAPD or the chief on which laws to enforce, but we can give a policy recommendation to not criminalize women.
The city council will debate the resolution at a special meeting next Tuesday. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
He was a Trinity professor, a pastor, an author, and a frequent guest right here on KSAT. Dr. Kerry Lattimore has passed away. Dr. Lattimore joined Trinity University in 2004. He served as the chair of the Department of History from 2011 to 2020. He was the co-director of the African American Studies minor, and he shared so much of the knowledge he had with us and with you. Dr. Lattimore joined us here on KSAT to talk about issues like race, civil rights, the progress made in this country, and the work that is still left to do. And he addressed those big, weighty topics with grace and positivity, and so often an infectious smile. Trinity University says a celebration of his life will be held on campus this fall.
A big loss. New at 6, San Antonio police catching up to a robbery suspect months after that crime was reported. 18-year-old Benjamin Woods facing 2 counts of aggravated robbery. Investigators say Woods held 2 people at gunpoint in the parking lot of a QT in the 9600 block of South Zarzamora. That was on March 20th. According to police, Woods and 2 others approached the victims, pointed a gun at them, and told them to hand over their belongings. His bond is set at $200,000.
And San Antonio police hoping someone can help them identify this man wanted for robbing an academy. This happened back on the 17th at the store in the 11,600 block of Bandera Road. According to investigators, the suspect walked in, showed a weapon, and then stole merchandise. Officers did not specify what kind of weapon was used or what was actually stolen. If you can help police identify who this is, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers 210-224-STOP.
Want to check out a traffic situation right now that has everything to do with just how dry it is. This is actually 37 at Indian Hills. As you look up the side of the slope there, you see that there's a grass fire right now, and there's concern that that smoke may actually spread over I-37 itself. Also concerns by the fire department because there's a mobile home park back there and a solar farm. They want to make sure this grass fire doesn't spread. Again, this is I-37 at Indian Hills, and that's why that traffic is slowing down there.
And we do have a crew that is there headed to the scene, rather, and we understand right now, obviously, traffic, as you can see, is a concern in this area, but so is the smoke. Our crew on the way is telling us that that is a problem for people driving through that area. Again, I-37 at Indian Hills, you can see that fire burning there and just how dry it is from this view. So something we're going to keep tabs on throughout this newscast. New at 6, dozens of San Antonio businesses are looking to hire hundreds of military veterans this week. The Shrine Auditorium on the north side will host a job fair for veterans and their spouses tomorrow. RJ Marquez spoke with organizers about how this event not only connects our military community to employers, but aims to give them a new outlook as they transition to the next phase of their lives.
Chris Stevens spent 2 decades as a U.S. Air Force crew chief, but when it came to life after active duty, it was not the smoothest transition to civilian life.
I was used to writing performance reports for subordinates, but when it came time to write a resume, I'm like, oh boy, like, how do I talk about myself and my background?
Stevens joined Recruit Military, an organization that helps veterans starting a new career.
Whether it's Dress for Success, how do I put an elevator speech together? How do I do an interview? What can I expect at a virtual job fair or even a physical job fair?
Recruit military and disabled Americans veterans will be right here at the Shrine Auditorium on Thursday for a free job fair that will give several veterans an opportunity to meet with local employers ranging from the San Antonio Police and Fire Departments to USAA.
We have over 350 military veterans and spouses have pre-registered for it, and we have 51 companies that plan on being in attendance.
The job fair is open to all transitioning military, veterans, military spouses, and dependents. There will also be several job opportunities for disabled veterans.
Doesn't matter if you're a pilot, a cook, a chaplain's assistant, a spouse, we can help everybody.
And with the amount of military personnel and bases in our area, Stevens says San Antonio is a priority for his company and businesses are motivated to hire veterans right now.
Military veterans are a real good source for our clients. I mean, listen, if it wasn't, we wouldn't have 50 plus companies there.
RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
We just talked about how dry it is out there right now. We got crews fighting a grass fire. This drought is a big concern, Adam.
Yeah, it is, and unfortunately, we're not turning it around anytime soon. Now, we did see a few showers pop up on the radar screen today. We'll take a look at who got the rain in just a moment. First of all, high temperature, 99. Yeah, so far that's the official report. Under 100 degrees for the second day this July. 103 was the hottest in Cotulla and Pleasanton. For the most part, upper 90s, right near 100 right now. We're at 99, 95 at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 89. A look at radar and our chance of rain, of course, in the days ahead coming right up.
Thank you, Adam. A City of San Antonio supervisor finally charged with a crime for this hair-pulling incident caught on camera. It's the result of a KSAT investigation into the harassment of women employees at the city's convention center. The latest coming up.
But when it comes to us, nobody cares.
Dylan Collier reports in just a few minutes.
I'm Stefania Jimenez, and here's what we're working on for you tonight on the Night Beat. Two families heartbroken over the murders of their teenage sons. What they say happened the night of the shooting. Plus, reckless and senseless. That's how the Bexar County Sheriff's Office describes a viral challenge involving those toy guns. The consequences that deputies say suspects could face if they're caught. We'll see you for these stories and more tonight on the Night Beat.
We'll see you at 10. Thank you, Stefania. Well, you've got questions, we've got answers. As we move ever closer to the beginning of another school year, everyone thinking about back to school, school supplies, clothes certainly on that list. Don't forget vaccinations, though. If you have questions about vaccines, this is where you can get those answers. Medical professionals from University Health taking your calls. They are experts. They will take your calls at 351-1363 right now. We are live. And joining us is Dr. Jason Bowling, an epidemiologist at University Health. Doctor, thank you so much for taking the time and for your cohorts to take time to talk to us today. A lot of people focusing on the COVID vaccine and when they should get the COVID vaccine, but we're talking about many important vaccines that kids should get for back to school.
That's absolutely right. So we want people to think about the COVID vaccine, but not forget about all those other important vaccines that are keeping their kids healthy, particularly as everybody gets back together for the school year. We know that everybody gets better in class and then they have their back to school parties. There's a lot of congregating. So we want everybody to be safe and healthy while they're doing that.
Yeah, is it too late for parents to get vaccines right now?
Absolutely not. So there's schedules for the vaccines, but there's actually catch-up schedules too. In case somebody's missed a dose, there's ways that their pediatrician can get them back on track.
Yeah, so please take advantage of this. By the way, a lot of the questions that Dr. Bowling tells me they've been getting is about monkeypox. There is not a monkeypox vaccine that's readily available in San Antonio, and right now it's not recommended for kids anyway. That seems to be the biggest question that you've been getting.
That's right. It's not recommended for children at this time or the general public.
Great. Dr. Bowling, thank you. 351-1363. The phones will be open until 7 o'clock. Myra, Adam?
All right, thanks, Steve. We want to get a look from Sky 12 here of that grass fire we showed you just a few minutes ago from a TransGuide camera. This is a view from the air here. You can see obviously a lot of smoke in this area, some flames there off in the distance. We have multiple fires at this point that we know are burning. Crews obviously trying to fight this, but they're dealing with incredibly dry conditions. This is happening I-37 in Indian Hills on the south side. It's right near a mobile home park. This is also near a solar farm as well. Again, we have a crew en route, traffic being affected by this right off the highway with some heavy smoke. But again, smoke and flames actively burning right now. Adam, it just goes to show you how dry it is out there. But some people were fortunate enough to see some rain, but I imagine it's a drop in the bucket for us.
It really is. And unfortunately, the rain that we had out there today, it's just more of a psychological boost than anything, but not all that beneficial. What we really need is a good soaking downpour, and even a widespread tropical system would be nice. A weak tropical storm that's full of moisture, but there isn't even a swirl out in the Atlantic basin, which includes the Gulf and the Caribbean, to get anything going within at least the next 5 days. Take a look at our time lapse. We did catch one of these showers developing. Look off beyond downtown. That was a shower near Poth in Wilson County earlier this afternoon, and you saw that vertical development. At least we're seeing something out there. Unfortunately, it's just not enough and not a whole lot. Taking a look at the radar. This is over the past couple of hours, and you see the activity that's been very isolated. I mean, we're talking stray downpours here. The one that we saw develop is this one right here just south of Floresville about an hour and a half ago. And then Schulenburg actually 2 days in a row now getting hit by downpours. That's just the anomaly and the lucky spot. That even spread westward into northern Gonzales County. Everywhere you see a color on the screen here, the blues, the greens, that indicates where we had rainfall today. So you see it was highly isolated. This is that 10% chance that we talk about. And tomorrow it's going to be pretty much the same. Most of it confined to the Gulf Coast and within about 90 miles of the immediate coastline there. I think tomorrow is going to be very similar. Friday, a slightly better chance of seeing something develop around San Antonio. But one bit of good news, drought-stricken New Mexico seen another day of good widespread rainfall, even stretching into Arizona. It's monsoon season and they're getting the moisture streaming up into the Four Corners region. So tomorrow a 10% chance. By Friday at 20%. I boosted it a little bit more, but just because I think the parameters are better suited for a few more pop-up showers, even closer to San Antonio, but not much in terms of coverage or them being really all that beneficial. 99 right now, dew point is 62, feels like 100. 103 in Abilene, Dallas 102. But for the most part, we're in the 90s right now. We're not feeling the intense heat that we have in days and weeks past. Yes, above average, but not record challenging. That's the caveat here. 103 Cotulla right now. That's the warmest spot on the map. Uvalde 98, Kennedy 95. And for the most part, we're just well into the 90s. 97 New Braunfels and Hondo 99 right now. Tomorrow we'll start the day in the 70s, about 78 around town, a little bit cooler in outlying areas. 91 at noon, 100 the high temperature, but it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up like today where we just made it up to 99 for the high. It's one of those psychological numbers, and triple digits or not, you're not going to feel the difference between 99 and 100. It's that mental advantage you get from not hitting 100. So tomorrow, for the most part, near 100 degrees. 97 Timberwood Park, 96 Helotes, Bernie about 96, but then you get along and south of Highway 90, about 100 to 101. Rain chance is still pretty slim, unfortunately. Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at another 10% chance. But overall, temperatures just really near 100, give or take a degree. That's about it.
At least somebody saw some rain today. Thanks, Adam.
All right, the footballs were flying, so this is officially the start of Cowboys practice, Larry.
Yes, and we are 1 day closer to the start of the NFL regular season. A big day in Oxnard, California for the Cowboys' first practice, and our crew caught up with running back Ezekiel Elliott. Plus, in college football, your Conference USA champion UTSA Roadrunners took part in Conference USA Media Day coming up.
Well, I don't want to see him throw a ball halfway the length of the field and strain something out here the third day.
That's Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on why he expects his team to be better this year after going through that scare with Dak last training camp and his road to recovery. It's time to go camping with KSAT.
Camping with KSAT, powered by Davis Law Firm.
For the first time since the Dallas Cowboys reported for their 2022 training camp in Southern California, they held practice. And one of the first players out today, star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, who will have a little more pressure on him to start the season with Michael Gallup still on the mend. And quarterback Dak Prescott was led up by his Pro Bowl linemen Tyron Smith and Zach Martin, with no restrictions placed on him for the first time since his horrific ankle injury in 2020. With more, let's take you live to Oxnard and our Greg Simmons.
Hey, thanks a lot, Larry. I tell you what, today's the first practice here at the Dallas Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California. Goes all the way to August the 10th before they break camp. Today we caught up with Cowboy star running back Ezekiel Elliott, who made quite the entrance today on the first day of workouts by going right to the fan zone. Elliott looking for a healthy start this season after playing hurt the last 3 months of last season. He had that right knee injury. Still rushed for over 1,000 yards after suffering a partially torn posterior cruciate ligament. Zeke says he's ready for his 7th season in the NFL. But how much did his off-season rehab not only help his knee recover, but his confidence as well?
It definitely helped, kind of getting that confidence back, because it's tough, being injured and kind of feeling yourself lose a step. And so it definitely helped, kind of get back to moving at the speed I was used to, and just bring that confidence back in myself, back in my body, back in my mind that I can make those cuts.
That's good to hear it. So let's give another injury update. This coming from Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy on Michael Gallup. He says he's hit every target in his rehab, and there have been no setbacks. Coming up tonight on the Night Beat, we're going to visit with a guy who's really making a name for himself during this offseason, former Steel star Terrence Steele. Got that for you coming up tonight on the Night Beat. Live from SoCal, Greg Simmons, KSAT 12 Sports.
Thank you, Gray. Looking forward to that. The Texans have reported to Houston for training camp and will hold their first practice on Friday. The Texans are coming off back-to-back 4-win seasons. And Nate Davis from USA Today predicts Houston will finish 3-14 this season and end up picking #1 overall in the 2023 NFL Draft. Las Vegas set the Texans over-under win total for this season at 4. The 2022 Conference USA Football Kickoff and Media Day was held at Globe Life Field in Arlington today. The league's 11 head coaches and players from each program were there. UTSA was represented by head coach Jeff Traylor, quarterback Frank Harris, and safety Rashad Wisdom. The defending Conference USA champion Roadrunners were picked to finish first in the conference by the media.
It's a blessing, but that really doesn't mean too much. We got to go out there this year and prepare the same way, whether that's individual, accolades or team accolades. But we got to go out there and prepare and have a chip on our shoulder and go out there and compete each and every week like we've been doing.
Just as far as having pressure is a privilege. And, it's just a part of it. Kind of just like what Frank said, we just got to go out there and handle our business.
Conference USA champs will start fall camp next week.
By the way, did you see Coach Traylor's fumble there?
I did.
Took the top off the water. And
you heard it.
Yeah.
Come on, Coach.
Run wind sprints.
Yes.
We'll be right back. We're going to take you back to a look from Sky 12 here of a grass fire burning on the southeast side. 2 locations bordering a solar farm here. This is off I-37 on Blue Wing Road.
Yeah, it's not far from I-37 in Indian Hills. We showed you the traffic camera earlier with traffic backed up, but this gives you a good idea. It's not just one fire. It actually looks like 3 separate fires that are kind of surrounding or at least paralleling this solar farm out there, and we'll continue to monitor the situation.
Targeted in the workplace with nowhere to turn.
After KSAT Investigates exposed a systematic pattern of abuse from male supervisors at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center, more women have come forward to detail what they've endured.
Dylan Collier shares their stories and how they feel unprotected.
Despite video evidence and an admission from Juan Cortez himself that he had pulled the hair of a woman who worked for him while they walked near a convention center loading dock last summer, law enforcement took no action against him for nearly a year. 11 days after KSAT Investigates showed this footage to the public for the first time, authorities finally issued a misdemeanor assault warrant for Cortez's arrest. He continued to show up for work another 2 weeks before turning himself in. Both Cortez and city officials contend they were unaware of his arrest warrant.
The people up cover a las personas.
That's not right.
But female maintenance employees say the saga exemplifies the dysfunction inside the city-run building, where male supervisors have assaulted, harassed, or even groped female maintenance employees and then face delayed consequences or sometimes none at all.
Because you're not supposed to be touching. No matter what part of the body, you keep your hands to yourself.
Flora Adame has worked for the city more than 20 years, taking on the backbreaking work of setting up convention halls and cleaning the more than 500,000 square foot building.
When it comes to us, nobody cares.
A stream of complaints against Cortez were put on the record last fall. Weeks before a camera captured him pulling Maria Villegas' hair, he was accused of grabbing the same woman's arm and putting it behind her back like a police officer taking someone into custody. A separate maintenance worker told City Human Resources in September she previously witnessed Cortez yank a woman on a dolly out from under a stage by her ankles. A fourth complaint against Cortez, filed by Adame, alleges he put a cold soda can on the back of the neck of an unsuspecting female employee.
She went like that.
What kind of person is Juan Cortez from your experience?
Bad people.
This maintenance employee, who's worked for the city nearly 6 years, asked that we not reveal her identity. She recently sat down with us and brought along her own complaints against Cortez that she claims went nowhere.
Le gusta hacer el bullying.
In Spanish, she described him as a bully who pits city workers against each other. Officials have refused to make Patricia Musquiz-Cantor, Executive Director of Convention and Sports Facilities, available for an interview. Documents confirm terminating Cortez for the hair-pulling incident was on the table late last August, but the punishment was shortened to 5 days after Musquiz-Cantor spoke with an HR administrator. A city spokeswoman failed to elaborate on what went into that agreement, but that the city stands by its discipline decision. Adame says it's more proof of leadership letting down a vulnerable portion of its workforce.
You just don't say anything. Don't even promise, because promising doesn't work at all.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
Cortez is now free on bond and is scheduled to be arraigned in county court on August 15th. His attorney did not respond to multiple requests seeking comment for this story. City officials confirmed that Cortez returned to work after addressing his warrant, and no further action will be taken against him unless, quote, substantive additional information comes out.
Let's move to our KSAT Q&A on this Wednesday, and there have been calls from Uvalde City Council, from the school district, from county commissioners for a special session to deal with gun laws, specifically the age that a person can buy an assault rifle, raising it from 18 to 21. Our guest today, Scott Braddock with the Quorum Report. He has his finger on the pulse of what's happening in Austin and across the state politically. Are we going to see a special session?
No. The governor was on television in Houston about an hour ago saying that he was not going to call a special session. He said there's no agreement on any sort of policies right now in regards to guns or anything else. And I think if you look at what's happening with the timeline of all of this, because like you said, there are all these folks who, not just in Uvalde, but across Texas, want to see action from lawmakers, from the governor, but the next time on his timeline that there could be policy changes would be in the regular session of the legislature. That would be next January. The session would be over by May, and of course that would mean that no new laws would be enacted in Texas regarding school safety or gun safety or mental health or any of these things until after the next school year is over with.
Are they having any effect, though? I mean, obviously it's not on the governor, but are you seeing state legislators that are maybe a little more willing to talk about changing some of these gun laws, if not in a special session?
No, they are still captive to the Republican primary voters in the state who don't want to see anything on gun legislation happen. You saw what happened with Senator John Cornyn when he moved a modest bill in Washington that I know we talked about here on KSAT, where you had Republicans very angry with him for doing what they considered to be some sort of a traitorous act almost when it comes to the Second Amendment. But Democrats weren't happy with it either, largely because they felt like it didn't do enough. So compromise a terrible, bad word in America and in Texas right now.
And of course, that legislation that was ultimately signed by the president, it provides hundreds of millions of dollars to states across the country to address things like a potential red flag law, implement a way to manage that, provides funding for mental health. So even outside of potentially raising the age limit on when somebody can buy a gun like an AR-15, there is, to be clear, no movement on any legislation involving guns.
And you know, when it comes to gun legislation, the things people are asking for, it's been described to me by some Republicans and Democrats alike as just the bare minimum. Raising the age, red flag laws, which you mentioned, and a few other things. Nothing like a mandatory buyback program of assault weapons or anything like that, which of course the Democratic nominee for governor, Beto O'Rourke, got in some hot water over supporting that previously. Although, if you look at the sort of shifting messages in the governor's race, earlier in the year, you saw Governor Abbott's campaign really just hammering Beto O'Rourke for having said, quote, hell yes, we'll take your AR-15. But after the Uvalde shooting, you don't see Abbott's team bringing that up.
Is that an impact that we're seeing from this and from all these different communities that are saying we need to raise the age? Are we seeing the tightening of the governor's race in polls? We are. Is that an effect from Uvalde and maybe the abortion ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court?
You know, on different issues that are at play in the election, it's such a dynamic situation. You have abortion, guns, you have the electricity grid, concerns about that in Texas, of course. People are worried about a whole host of things, but people are also, of course, worried about the economy, number one, and that accrues to the benefit of Republicans because you have a Democrat in the White House, and people naturally just blame the party in power in Washington, not in their state government when it comes to the economy.
We got to take a quick break, but we're going to have you stick with us here because we have more to dive into when it comes especially to the governor's race. We'll be right back. We're continuing our Q&A with Scott Braddock, editor of the Quorum Report, and we touched a little bit on this before the break, the governor's race. We have seen movement as far as Beto O'Rourke goes in the polls. We've seen kind of the conversation shift with Governor Abbott talking now about his support for the school voucher program. That's got a history in the legislature. What are you watching right now at this point in the race?
Well, definitely watching the school voucher issue, but it's such a dynamic situation as we were talking about before the break. You've got the abortion ruling from the Supreme Court. You've got gun safety issues after the shooting in Uvalde. You've got the voucher issue. All these hot topics in talk radio world right now. They say that the gods are smiling because it's one of these topics after another so that they can talk about it on conservative talk radio. But when you look at what's happening with these tightening polls, I think we all tend to read too much into polls, and two things to understand about polls. One is that it's not a predictor of the future. It's just a diagnostic tool for those of us who do this for a living to try to figure out where this race might actually be. And number two, the other big thing, don't read too much into any one poll. But when you do have a pattern of polls showing, a certain spread between these candidates, we're looking at about a 5 to 6 point advantage for the governor right now. Think of it this way. If all of our politics are nationalized, and it certainly seems like they are at this point, we shouldn't be surprised that Beto O'Rourke and Greg Abbott are separated by about the same as the result was in Texas in 2020, which was Trump leading Biden by about 6 points.
How about when it comes to money? Anything that surprises you there, especially when you've seen the money that Beto has raised in the last quarter?
Absolutely. Astronomical numbers for a Democrat in Texas. And, when you see that he raised nearly $30 million, the real important number to look at in any campaign finance report, well, there's two really important numbers. This is the way my mentor, Harvey Kronberg at quorumreport.com would say it. The two important numbers are cash on hand followed by cash on hand. How much is actually in the bank? How much can they spend? Beto has about $24 million. You know that Greg Abbott has said that he's going to spend about $20 million on television, radio, digital advertising, and of course both of these candidates are going to spend a lot on field operations. Those are the block walkers who go around neighborhood to neighborhood talking to people about the race. That of course in state level elections is very important. And so this is financially a very competitive race, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be competitive once we get to the fall. Who knows? I mean, with all of the issues that are happening and all the dynamic situation we're talking about, who knows what we'll be talking about in October.
Before we let you go, Scott, obviously you do great work with the Quorum Report, but you've also been involved with CNN and a story that they've done. I don't usually direct people to watch something, but online there's a CNN report that Ed Lavandera did with you about big Republican donors, correct?
Sure, yeah, and it's something that I've worked on for about a decade and worked sort of in partnership with CNN over the last year to expose what's going on in the Texas Republican primary. I say all the time that the GOP primary in Texas is probably the most important election on earth that no one pays any attention to. Only about 2 million people vote, and 31 million Texans deal with the direct consequences of that election. And if you don't mind me saying so, it'll re-air on CNN 10 p.m. On Friday night. It's a deep dive into it. Ed Lavender did a great job.
Don't mind it at all. Scott Braddock from the Quorum Report. Always appreciate your time. Great to see you in person.
Yeah,
You
nice
bet.
to have you here.
Good to see y'all.
Off of Zoom. We'll be right back. You still have a few minutes left to get your questions about vaccines answered by medical professionals from University Health. For the last couple of hours, they've been taking your calls as the new school year approaches. Keeping up with your kids' shots, it's required by state law. 210-351-1363. That's the number to call to get your questions about that answered. These phone lines will be open until 7 o'clock. A few more minutes, so if you don't get through the first time, don't give up. Keep on trying.
Yep. Great opportunity. 351-1363. All right. About the only question those nurses can't answer is when is it going to rain? I'm not sure Adam Caskey can even answer that right now.
Well, I do think we will have more pop-up showers tomorrow, really the next couple of afternoons, but it's going to be very limited in coverage. So don't anticipate it at your house. That's the key here. Expect it to remain dry. If you happen to be one of the lucky few, then just count your lucky stars. Let's take a look at our rain chances. 10% again tomorrow, just like today, then Friday. We're up to 20%. I just think we have a slightly better chance of some of those pop-up brief downpours closer to San Antonio and other parts of our area. But you look at the 12-hour rainfall today, Schulenburg, that's where we saw about an inch of rain right along I-10 there, far east of San Antonio. These blues, these light blues indicate some rainfall, but not much in terms of accumulations. But wherever you see those colors, that's where we had those showers pop up, generally between I-37 and I-10. And I think tomorrow's going to be a fairly similar pattern. And then by Friday, we could have a few more pop up a little bit closer to San Antonio. But you look at the satellite and radar over the past 6 hours, most of it right along the coastal plain here within about 90 miles of the Gulf of Mexico and even parts of West Texas. Alpine actually had a nice downpour earlier this afternoon. So it's good to at least see them get some rain in a little bit in the panhandle. But overall, most of the state's still dry, and the rain that we did see really insignificant, unfortunately. Here's our rainfall futurecast over the next 7 days, and this just shows the large-scale precipitation for the most part. And you see how it's basically a big ring right around Texas. Everyone but us getting in on the rainfall over the next 7 days, at least the majority of the rain. Notice along the coastline, we'll have a few more pop-up showers. And overall, it's not that much. Like we were talking about, 10 to 20% chance the next few days. Then by Monday and Tuesday, just that other slight chance at about 10%. Let's talk temperatures. Today, our high, 99. I know you're not going to feel the difference between 99 and 100. It's that psychological boost. The second day this month, we have not hit 100. Dew point is 62, and that wind's picking up out of the southeast now at 22 miles per hour. We're going to feel that for the next several hours through about midnight. 103 in Cotulla, that's the exception. 99 Eagle Pass, 95 in Kerrville, New Braunfels at 97 degrees, Gonzales 92. Most of us in the 90s for a change. Yes, we're above average, but it's not the intense heat that we've been feeling in days and weeks past, and we're not even close to record challenging. Dew points drop down a bit in the afternoon as usual, and they're really not all that high to make a big difference in the heat index. So tomorrow, the heat index is just going to be a degree or two above the actual air temperature. Very sticky and muggy in the morning, not quite as bad in the afternoon. Dew points in the low to mid 60s, so a heat index of about 100 to 102. As for actual air temperature, 7 a.m., 78 degrees. By 9 a.m., we're already in the lower 80s. At noon, 91, and then we get right up near 100, give or take a degree tomorrow afternoon with that 10% chance. So just a measly 10% chance, and highs right near 100. And let me tell you, it's not going to change much for several days here. Those highs stay right near the century mark, give or take. But at least it's not record-breaking heat, not record-challenging.
This is true. Thank you, Adam.
We'll be right back.
We're going to get you updated now on some of these grass fires we've been watching. This is Sky 12. This is looking at this fire off of Blue Wing Road. This is the one that is near the solar farms that we saw a little bit earlier from a different view. It looks like there are multiple locations burning all around those panels. We understand that at this point, county resources are now also being used to fight these flames. We've got city and county resources fighting this fire.
Yeah, again, this is Blue Wing Road. That's I-37 that I believe you're looking at. That's off in the distance, some of the smoke blowing over the roadway. And closest to us, where you see some of the fire trucks as well, is the actual solar farm. There are another couple of grass fires that are burning on either side of that solar farm. Now, if we transition to another fire that firefighters are dealing with, it's not all that far away from this. This is actually 37 at Indian Hills. And at one point, only one side of the interstate was actually going slow or completely at a stop. Now it's both sides, and you can actually see some of the burned terrain off in the distance there. There was some concern about this fire as well. We are told not only are San Antonio Fire Department officials fighting this fire, but also the county has some of their resources out here as well.
And this is a little bit north of that previous location we showed you where the solar panels were being surrounded by different fires that were burning. So we know that we've got multiple places where grass fires are a threat right now. County and city resources battling that. Certainly a result of the extremely dry conditions we are still dealing with. We'll be right back.
All right, here's the radar over the past 3 hours, and you did see this afternoon a few stray downpours pop up, especially around Schulenburg along I-10, but that was really it. Tomorrow's going to be similar coverage, hit or miss, mainly between I-37 and I-10. A slightly better chance on Friday, but unfortunately don't get your hopes up. Then this weekend, a lot of sunshine. Notice how temperatures, we're just sailing right near 100.
All right, thanks, Adam, and thank you for watching the news at 6.
See you on the Night Beat at 10.